Good day, and welcome to the Lilly Roddy Show, coming to you from the LRS studios here in Houston, Texas. So happy to have you here with me today so I can share my astrological views with you. What a week we had with all that Martian activity last week. I hope you were able to make it through and not experience too much trauma. And our temperatures are warming up here as we approach the vernal equinox, the first day of spring on the 20th. The final conjunction between Uranus and Pluto takes place on Monday. Uranus and Pluto have been in a square, or a challenging relationship, since 2008. And they do get close again in November of this year, but after that they will widen their gap. This will make the last 2 weeks very intense. And with our spring equinox, we also have a solar eclipse at 4:36 a.m. Central Daylight Time at 29 Pisces, as the Sun enters Aries at 5:45 p.m. in the late afternoon. Thursday will probably be a quiet day before the energies are released on Friday morning. We may feel a little unsettled during this eclipse. Try to find a quiet place for yourself, especially with the moon in Pisces. If you'd like to get in touch with me, my email here is lillyroddyshow@aol.com, lillyroddyshow.com, or find us on Pinterest, Twitter, or Facebook. I almost said Twitter. I don't think I can even say that. Well, let's look at what's going on for the week of March 15th through March 21st, 2015. Sunday, March 15th. The moon transits industrious Capricorn for the entire day. The moon squares Uranus at 4:14 a.m. The energy levels are very strong early this morning, and we may have a hard time staying asleep. With these early morning connections between the Uranus-Pluto square, our emotions are on edge. Keep your agenda very flexible and try not to paint yourself into any corners in the morning hours. The moon conjuncts Pluto at 4:20 a.m., just barely 6 minutes later. If you're sleeping through this, you could have a very active dream life where you feel you're separating yourself from your own past. We are letting go of emotional expressions that no longer serve us. The moon squares Mars at 8:56 a.m. If you're out and about early this Sunday morning, be sure and give other people lots of extra space. People are feeling very selfish and entitled when these two planets combine. This is a good time for a jog or to work in your garden. The moon trines the sun at 9:08 p.m. We're finally finding some peace in the later hours of the evening. You will probably just want to relax, but if you don't mind doing some odd jobs around the house, that will probably make your evening a lot more relaxed. Monday, March 16th. The day starts with the moon in Capricorn, but goes void, of course, at 3:02 a.m. until she enters progressive-minded Aquarius at 5:14 a.m. Not a very long void, of course. The tensions remain high over the next couple of days with our ongoing Uranus-Pluto square. Be sure and take some time for yourself to get away and relax. The moon squares Venus at 3:02 a.m. If you're awake, it's a good time to be sharing the bed with someone special. If you're sleeping, you could be dreaming about your ideal lover. Mercury squares Saturn. When Mercury and Saturn combine, this is a great time for any type of detailed work, reorganizing, or just getting rid of a lot of old magazines and newspapers. Our thinking will be somewhat pessimistic as we're more inclined to consider worst case scenarios, since Saturn is so much of a risk management planet. One thing to watch for during this transit is not to overthink things so much. Otherwise, we lose our perspective and are unable to make any decisions. Expect some traffic and some communication delays. This aspect is in effect for a couple of days. The moon enters Aquarius at 5:14 a.m. and is no longer void of course. We're planning ahead and anxious to get our day started. The moon sextiles Saturn at 1:23 p.m. This combination of planets keeps us in a very realistic state of mind. It is a very good aspect for purchasing real estate, making investments, or taking leadership and responsibilities for some family issues. And here it is, Uranus squares Pluto at 8:50 p.m. This is our last official square of these two planets, although they will get very close in November and December of 2015. Uranus, the futurist, challenges the decaying Plutonian situations. On a personal level, will you be challenged by the fears of your own childhood? Or will you be able to escape your own upbringing and limitations and reach enlightenment, expanded vision, and new sight? This is a very good day for therapy, starting a new business, or signing those divorce papers. Tuesday, March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. The moon occupies candid and direct Aquarius for the entire day. However, she becomes void of course in Aquarius after lunch at 1:18 p.m. and will remain so throughout the rest of the day. Get your more important activities taken care of before that time. The moon opposes Jupiter at 3:13 a.m. This combination of energies, moon and Pluto, is good for almost anything. If you're awake, you're hungry for food and conversation. Venus, planet of love and money, enters Taurus at 5:15 a.m. She is at home in her ruling sign of Taurus and will reside there for approximately 3.5 weeks. Venus in Taurus indicates a time for us to pay more attention to our earthy, practical, and sensual needs. We'll be slower to make commitments, but more sure about our decisions. The moon sextiles Uranus at 6:23 a.m. If you're up early this morning, you're feeling very energetic and really ready to get on with your day. If you can spend some of your time with your friends having coffee or tea, this will really enhance the start of your day. The moon sextiles Mars at 1:18 p.m. Our energy level and confidence remain strong through the early afternoon. Put yourself out there and take a few risks. Your intuition is strong this afternoon. The moon is now void of course in Aquarius at 1:18 p.m. and will remain so until she enters Pisces at 5:58 a.m. on Wednesday morning. This does mark the beginning of a 17-hour-long moon void of course. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and put your to-do list to the side. Wednesday, March 18th. The day begins with the moon, void of course, in Aquarius, but quickly enters Pisces, the rescuer, at 5:58 a.m. and is no longer void of course, as most of us are starting our day. But we have a Lulu of a transit to start out with. Mercury conjuncts Neptune at 3:49 a.m. When these two planets combine, it would be an ideal day to take off from our work, find a great place to retreat to for a couple of days. We are all feeling very much more psychic and are picking up on lots of other information than we're used to. Be careful about the company you keep for the next couple of days, as just their presence will have a big impact on you. This could be a good time for riding, camping in the woods, or doing a past life regression. We are not as physically connected or grounded when these two planets combine. Try to keep your schedule today as light as possible. The moon enters Pisces, the sign that rules psychic energy, at 5:58 a.m. and is no longer void of course. With the moon in Pisces, this will only make the Mercury-Neptune connection even stronger. Try to allow only healthy and stable people into your life today. The moon sextiles Venus at 8:07 a.m. This is a good morning to be taking it easy and really enjoying the social connections you have with your coworkers or those in your immediate environment. From a business standpoint, this could be a great day to reinforce your connections with your clients. The moon squares Saturn, one of my favorite transits, 1:47 p.m. After lunch, our energy levels could be really low, and we could even be feeling a bit depressed. We're a little bit more pessimistic and only seem to be able to find things that are wrong and not much that is right. Don't let your moods get you down. Get away from your desk, step outside, and take some deep breaths. The moon conjuncts Neptune at 6:45 p.m. Our psychic sensors are turned up to about 200%. The best place to be is listening to soothing music, doing yoga or meditation, or sitting at the beach and listening to the waves. If you have to work, try and find some time for yourself so you can meditate a bit. In a pinch, a glass of wine or a couple of shots of tequila will work just as well. The moon conjuncts Mercury at 8:28 p.m. We are certainly in our own head this evening. It's a good time for writing or communicating your ideas, but only to those people that are open and receptive. This can be an excellent evening to have a real heart-to-heart talk with a good friend or your romantic partner to make sure that you're both on the same page. Thursday, March 19th. The moon resides in Pisces, the sign that rules prisons and hospitals, for the entire day. The moon sextiles Pluto at 6:17 a.m. We start our morning off feeling hopeful about making our day as productive as possible. Try to get most of your important activities taken care of in the morning. Since this is our only aspect of the day, but not void of course, we may not be as motivated as we get into the evening hours. Friday, March 20th. The moon starts the day with the moon in Pisces, becomes void of course at 4:36 a.m. until she enters assertive Aries at 5:28 and is no longer void of course. The moon conjuncts the sun at 4:36 a.m. This is the new moon in Pisces, which is also a solar eclipse. The solar eclipse stimulates our needs to be more compassionate and to make changes in our daily lives that reflect that. The second part of the eclipse on April 4th, the lunar eclipse and full moon, will be able to understand how effectively we have integrated this idea of compassion. The moon is now void of course until she enters Aries at 5:28 a.m. We're feeling very energetic as the day begins and just can't wait to get started. The moon trines Saturn at 1:14 p.m. Although our first aspect of the day doesn't occur until after lunchtime, we're still making great use of our time, love, and money today. It's a very good day to be focused on tasks that require some detail and persistence. And finally, the sun enters Aries at 5:45 p.m. This event is known as the vernal equinox, which also marks the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere. The sun will spend the next 30 days in Aries, encouraging us to awaken from our long winter's nap. Saturday, March 21st. The moon journeys through pioneering Aries for the entire day. She does become void of course in Aries at 5:51 p.m. and remains so throughout the rest of the day. Try and get your more important activities taken care of before that time. The moon trines Jupiter at 2:21 a.m. If you're awake, you're in a talkative mood and it could be a good time to be with your friends. Otherwise, it's a good time for sleeping. The moon squares Pluto at 5:56 a.m. If you're up early this morning, be sure and keep your schedule very flexible and open. You will have a lot of things you'll want to do, but you may find that you're having a very emotional day. Consequently, you'll have to deal with more internal issues regarding yourself rather than external issues. The moon conjuncts Uranus at 6:14 a.m. This is a very good morning to be doing exactly what you want to do. Appointments and obligations may rub you the wrong way today. Keep your visits short. And what a great aspect to finish our week with. The moon conjuncts Mars at 5:51 p.m. In the early evening, we're really wanting to open up and express our emotions without limits. We will all be very self-oriented, which may make everyone around us seem like they're very selfish. Watch your defensiveness, as you may not really need to defend yourself. This can be a great evening for a sports event, a night of online gaming, or pumping up those pecs at the gym. The moon is now void of course in Aries at 5:51 p.m. and she'll remain so until she enters Taurus at 5:40 a.m. on Sunday morning. Get out and have an adventure and enjoy your evening. Well, as you can tell, there's plenty of activity for next week. Make sure you're doing the best you can do for you. Thank you for joining me this week so I could share my astrological views with you. If you haven't taken the time, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Join us next week as we look at March 22nd through the 28th. This is the Lilly Roddy Show here in the LRS studios, reminding you to keep those stars in your eyes. Bye-bye.